We're always told to think for ourselves, but what does that actually mean? Especially in a world that feels like it's designed to do the thinking for us. Well, today, we're going to build up your mental defenses. We're going to train your epistemic muscles. When you picture a charlatan, you probably think of some old-school guru, right? Someone selling snake oil from a cart. But what if the most convincing, most dangerous charlatans today aren't out in the desert somewhere? What if they're right here, in your social media feed, looking and sounding just like an expert? I'm going to show you exactly how to spot them. We're going to build a practical framework. Think of it like a mental workout that you can start using today. So if you're ready to build that skill, go ahead and hit like and subscribe to Project Human so you don't miss out on more tools like this. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first. We have to understand this new landscape of manipulation. The game has totally changed, and that means our old defenses, well, they just don't work anymore. Think about it like this. For centuries, systems like religion gave people a map. You had scriptures, you had a community, you had clear landmarks you could check if someone started making really wild claims. But today's charlatans, they've got a brand new playbook. They wrap themselves in the language of science, selling this illusion of certainty. They use phrases like clinically proven or studies show, which forces us to just trust them. We can't easily check the data ourselves. And here's where it gets really wild. AI puts this whole problem on steroids. I mean, in seconds, anyone can create a fake scientific journal, a fake doctor with a convincing profile, even a professional-looking graph that is completely made up. It's not just about tugging at your heartstrings anymore. This stuff targets our logical brain with what looks like real data. And the biggest danger isn't that you'll believe one single lie. It's that the actual truth gets completely buried under an avalanche of convincing noise. So, how in the world do we fight back against that? Well, it's not about being smarter or having a high IQ. This is not a smart versus dumb thing at all. It's about developing what's called epistemic maturity. I know it's a fancy term, but all it really means is getting better at how you process and verify information. And this table here breaks it down beautifully. So at level 1, you've got the passive believer. They pretty much trust authority without question. Level 2 is the skeptical observer. They ask questions, but they don't really dig for answers, so they get swayed by different narratives. Then you get to level 3, the critical reasoner. This person actually evaluates claims using principles. And finally, level 4, the system thinker. This person sees the entire game being played. They understand the structures of manipulation itself. So be honest for a second. Where do you think you spend most of your time on this chart? Now here's the most important part. You are not stuck at one level. Not at all. You can actually move up that scale. You can train your mind, just like you train a muscle at the gym, to get stronger and way more resilient to all this noise. So here it is, your 5-step mental workout. First, you anchor in first principles. Just ask, what is actually fundamentally being claimed here? Second, you watch for emotional hooks. Is this story trying to make me scared, hopeful, angry? If so, just pause. Third, you triangulate your trust. Don't rely on one source. Check multiple, independent ones. Fourth, and this one's huge, you have to learn to hold uncertainty. It is okay not to have an answer right away. And fifth, you just train the muscle. The more you do this, the more it becomes second nature. All right, that's enough theory. Let's actually put these new muscles to the test with something we have all seen a million times online. Okay, so you're scrolling your feed, and bam, there it is. An ad for a clinically proven memory booster backed by Harvard research. Sounds pretty legit, right? The level 1 thinker in you might be tempted to click buy now. But wait, your new epistemic muscles kick in, and you say, hold on a minute. Step 1, anchor. Before you even think about the Harvard part, you just ask a really basic question. Does it make biological sense that one pill could dramatically boost my memory? You start from the ground up with first principles. Step 2, the hook check. Look at that phrase, effortless brain boost. That is a classic emotional hook. It's preying on our universal desire for an easy fix, a shortcut. That right there should be a huge red flag telling you to slow down. And step 3, triangulate. It says backed by Harvard research. Okay, so your next questions are, who funded that research? Was it the same company selling the pill? Can I even find this study? Are there any other independent scientists confirming these results? You're basically checking the map instead of just trusting the billboard. And let me be perfectly clear about this. Running through this little mental checklist, that's not paranoia. It's not being cynical. It's building resilience. It's taking back control over what you allow yourself to believe. Okay, so now let's scale this up, because this mental workout isn't just for spotting a shady ad for a supplement. You can use the exact same logic to better understand the whole media world we live in, from cable news to your favorite YouTube channels. So take a look at this. We can use our framework to analyze any media source. And the goal here isn't to say this one's good or that one's bad. The goal is to understand how they think. So, for example, if we look at two popular but different shows, like Trigonometry and Breaking Points, we can see both are really good at spotting manipulation, but they might be a little different in other areas, like how many sources they bring in, or how willing they are to say, "we don't know," instead of giving a simple answer. The point is to see the architecture of their thinking. And this is the key insight right here. When you tune into any news source, whether it's one of these, or a legacy network, or anything else, you're not just consuming facts or stories. You are literally stepping inside someone else's entire system for making sense of the world. Which leaves you with a choice, and this slide sums it up perfectly. With weak epistemic muscles, you're basically a passenger. You're just being carried along by the current of whatever story they're telling. But with strong muscles, you become the driver. You can feel the current, you can understand where it's trying to take you, and you get to decide where you want to go. You see, in the end, it really doesn't matter if it's a guru, a politician, or some super smart AI. The truth is never just going to hand itself to you on a silver platter. It demands that you participate. It asks you to show up, to question, and to truly, actively think. So the next time you hear a claim that just feels a little too perfect, a little too easy, or way too good to be true, stop. Listen to that feeling, that little flicker of doubt. That's not weakness. That is your epistemic muscle firing. That, right there, is your greatest strength.